Welcome back. This is part 5 of reasons why I don't believe Jesus was a historical person. I'm about to say two words, and if you happen to be in the same room as any mainstream biblical scholar, get ready to cover your ears because when I say these two words, it's going to send them screaming out of the room. Are you ready? Mystery cults. People have been remarking on the similarities or parallels between Christianity and mystery religions for centuries now, and for good reason. I mean, there are a lot of parallels. Whether or not any of those parallels are because Christianity was directly inspired by mystery cults, that's another story entirely. Now, for example, the Dionysian mysteries did involve the ritual consumption of wine and a communion, in this case, likely raw flesh of an animal, that was consumed by the members of the cult and was considered to be a representation of the flesh of Dionysus. A lot of these mystery cults were based around seasonal rebirth myths. So basically, think like winter is the death of the sun and spring is its rebirth. But they use the god to stand in for the sun, to stand in for the changing of the seasons. The god dies, is in the underworld for a certain amount of time, and then is reborn as a symbol of the return of life to earth at springtime. Am I saying that Christianity began as a sort of like Jewish inflected mystery cult? No, that would be the thesis of the book, The Jesus Mysteries, and that is not what I think. However, I do believe that Christianity was heavily influenced by the culture that surrounded these mystery religions back in Rome. There are simply too many parallels to say that there is absolutely no cross pollination whatsoever. I have to assume that people back in ancient Rome were psychologically similar to people today. And while in ancient Rome, religion was a civic duty, there was also a spiritual aspect to it. And like today, I have to assume that there were a lot of spiritual seekers that would move from temple to temple or cult to cult looking for something that spoke to them. And so it's only logical that people who had been in one of these mystery cults eventually made their way to Christianity and thereby influenced the shape of this up and coming church for all time. So, what does any of this have to do with whether or not Jesus existed? Well, for me, it's just another mark in the likely did not exist column. Now, I'm not going to say that this is a smoking gun that indicates Christianity was a mystery cult because, frankly, I do not believe that it was. But I do think that there are enough parallels to say that there was likely some cross pollination, probably coming from the mystery cults to Christianity based on the fact that the church was largely Gentile very early on in its history. So, what I take away from all this is that if your story is adjacent to mythology, it's likely also mythology.